I'm Edwin Warfield, the publisher of City Biz, and I'm honored today to interview Joe Dunnigan, the CEO of Alt Sports Data. Welcome, Joe.
Thanks, Edwin. Nice to be here. How are you today?
Good, nice to have you here. Can you introduce Alt Sports Data and your vision for the company?
Sure. At Alt Sports Data, we are bringing the next wave of sports bettors to the sports betting industry. We have spent a number of years of our careers in and around action sports and alternative sports, and we could never really understand why they didn't exist in sports betting, and so we're seeking to solve that for the industry. These sports include a variety of categories such as board sports, motor sports, endurance sports, outdoor and adventure sports, and we're bringing an audience, an aggregate of 70 plus million in the U.S. alone, a billion globally, and we're bringing them to sports betting to give them an opportunity to engage in the sports that they're very passionate about in a way that they've never been able to before.
And can you explain the technology and how it's driving revenue?
Sure. We basically have signed rights deals with 20 of the most premier alternative sports leagues, including World Surf League, Street League Skateboarding, etc. And what we're doing is we're aggregating their athlete and event data into our proprietary trading platform that we've built from the ground up, because our sports are a bit nuanced and unique to sports betting. And we ingest that data and algorithmically drive odds and pricing for the events, and we provide that via API to our sports betting operating partners, and that allows them to offer wagering on these sports. So the supply and demand challenges in the sports betting industry are what we sought to solve, and we're leveraging technology in the way I just mentioned to do so.
And who are your primary customers?
Our primary customers have historically been a couple of the more emerging challenger brands coming into the United States, including Betway and Betfred, who happen to be much larger internationally. And we have most recently signed FanDuel and DraftKings, and we're working with Underdog Fantasy as their tier one DFS provider. Those are our primary customers today, and it's I'm not sure how close you are to the industry, but FanDuel and DraftKings alone represent roughly 70% of the market in the U.S.
And can you explain the league rights acquisitions and partnerships?
Sure, yeah. We are, it is much more of a partnership than typical acquisition. We're not, as a young startup, we're not writing big checks to the leagues. What we are doing is we're doing a lot of what we call the picks and shovels work and the heavy lifting to ingest their data, model their data, aggregate their data, and bring it to the sports betting operators. And so in doing so, we're signing rights deals not only for their athlete and event data, but we're also working with them for their customers on their customer data. So we are working with them to aggregate the data, process the data, provide the data, but also arm in arm, we go with the leagues to drive their audiences to our sports betting partners. So the rights deals are a little unique in that regard. It's both data and demand generation.
So you started Alt Sports Data in March of 2021. What are some of the key milestones since the launch?
It's been a wild ride. It's been good. We've aggregated 20 leagues that in aggregate have a combined audience that is larger than the NHL in terms of social followings, and they're driving 60 plus million social followers, driving 18 billion eyeballs a year. So the progress has been concept, validate the theory, the idea, build the trading platform, build a trading team, get our rights deals in place, establish a regulatory footprint. As you know, the U.S. is a state-by-state regulated industry, and so we've been working through that as an official data provider. And then in addition, we've been building our team, raising capital, as you can imagine. We've raised a couple of rounds of capital from some very smart, sophisticated, and awesome folks that have been great partners to us. I guess it's just the progression of all of those and signing operators. Getting FanDuel and DraftKings over the line has been a major milestone for us, and that's what we had always hoped for, and it's real now. And so the flywheel is starting to really spin and scale up. So we're excited about the future.
So according to Crunchbase, you recently closed a 4.5 million seed round. Can you tell us about who the primary investors are?
Sure. We actually closed a $2 million pre-seed round about a year and a half ago, and most recently we closed our first series seed round, and that was 2.5, and that's where the 4.5 comes from. But yeah, the co-lead investors were eBerg Capital, which is led by Roger Ehrenberg and Ethan Ehrenberg and Andrew Ehrenberg, and they were an investor in our first round as well. And then they've been, without going too far afoot, but they've been the greatest partners I've had a lot of investors in my life, and they've just been phenomenal to work with. And then we also brought in Relay Ventures out of Toronto. And with that, we were fortunate enough to bring in the founding partner there, Mr. John Albright, to our board, and they, as I mentioned, co-led the round with eBerg in the most recent round. And there are a number of other great folks involved as well. We've got the founder and co-founder of GoPro, and just a number of great people involved. So.
And you also have a New Fund Venture Group, who's a group of angel investors. Tell us about their role.
Yeah, they're great. They're local. They took a real hard look at our opportunity. They bring real strategic value in addition to some important capital. They helped us close the most recent round out. And it was ironic in that a couple of the folks who are on the evaluation committee are actually customers of ours, or at least they were involved in the businesses who were customers of ours. But no, they've been great to work with so far, and we're excited. In fact, we're hosting a happy hour tonight here in Carlsbad, and they'll be here.
And so, what is your growth strategy? Is it internal growth? Do you have any acquisitions? Or tell us how are you going to grow?
Well, because we're providing, unlike say a Sport Radar or Genius Sports, who are very data centric, we're building a platform and an ecosystem for this industry that is providing emerging and underrepresented sports access to sports betting so that they can grow their TAM and deepen their engagement. And so for us, we want to grow our pipeline and portfolio of sports, and we want to grow our network of operators. And at the same time, I guess the third leg of the stool is that we are building and have built the beginnings of our owned and operated media platform called NXT Bets. And that's starting to really generate meaningful traction and traffic. And it really rounds out the kind of flywheel that we're building for this business. So it's really just kind of doing more of everything that we're doing now and helping to grow the total addressable market for the sports betting industry is the goal, while also helping these emerging leagues to be placed on a similar stage as the big four sports are currently.
So is there any part of the alt sports data or Joe story that you haven't shared with us that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very personal story for my partner Todd Ballard and I. Todd was one of the earliest members of GoPro and helped build that brand from the ground up. He and I worked together there. I ran global brand strategy. But I mean, we've been building businesses and brands in and around action sports for 20 plus years. We've raised our families in those spaces, in those sports. And quite frankly, we have a real passion for seeing them have a place on the global stage, not unlike the NFL, the MLB, et cetera, because they deserve to. And so I would just say that watch for them coming, because they are, they're deserving. They're some of the finest athletes on the planet. They risk their lives on a regular basis, and they're not really compensated in the way that some of the more established professional sports are. So we hope to be a part of that solution for them, as well as for the industry to help, drive, like I said, the next wave of consumers through leveraging data.
Well, Joe, it's an exciting story, and keep us apprised as you add on new partnerships, new employees, and the Series A. We'd love to keep us abreast of your story, and maybe we'll touch base in another year or two once you're taking over the world. So thank you, Joe.
Sounds good, Edwin. We'll be happy to keep you posted, and we really appreciate you having us on, and very nice to meet you, Edwin.